Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Um, Happy day before Christmas Eve. If celebrating Christmas is your thing, I'm going to turn this down for a little bit. I'm Belinda with Just the Yoga, and this is Home Yoga Practice Live. And I wanted to start off today first with just an expression of so much gratitude for everyone who participates and shares in this practice. As you know, like many yoga instructors, meditation folks, we've had to innovate and go with the flow and transfer things likely online virtually. I am ever so grateful and deeply in your debt for you coming and showing up, sharing, and maybe getting something out of it, as well as definitely your donations that have helped keep us going. So I wanted to just have this whole day be about gratitude and thanks and honoring each of your practices. So today is our Home Yoga Practice Live. As many of you know, we're working on just coming in and being in our space. And if there's any tools along the way that I'm sharing that help you make your way onto your mat, whether you're online live with us or whether you're doing it on your own, that's what I'm hoping to be able to help you with. So if you have questions and you want to ask about, you know what, here are some barriers to me doing this thing on my own, or here are the things that I actually do to get myself on the mat, because others could benefit from whatever it is that you have to share about how you get on your mat. How do you show up for you? All right, let's get started. And do know, especially if you're new, comment anytime that you wish. Just realizing I don't have my glasses on, so I'll probably be running up onto the screen so I can see more often. I'm getting used to it. It's a new thing, you all. I'm going to forgive myself. But go ahead and write anything that you wish. If there's any comment that you wish, if there's anything you'd like to work on in particular, anything you'd like to share, go ahead and make that as a comment up here, and I'll respond as best I can. Okay, good morning. Let's come on and get seated. How is everyone? I know that I'm feeling, besides feeling grateful, feeling a little stiff in my hips. Some of you know that I've been doing a little bit of extra dog walk duty, helping out a friend who is ill, but it looks like slowly recovering from COVID. So my hips from a little bit of the walking and a different kind of dog, a little bit of a puller. I'm feeling some different aches and whatnot going on. But otherwise, I think I've got a little extra energy to burn off. So I might want to move a little bit. Those are some of the things that I do to kind of do a little check-in as I arrive on my mat and kind of say, who am I? What is my body needing? What's going on for me today? All right, so I'm going to start in a seated space. Actually, I'm going to start in a space with my legs out in front of me, like this. Yeah, I'm wearing my Michigan State stuff. It doesn't mean anything to me, but if you're a State fan, there you go. And oftentimes when I arrive on my mat, in order to bring myself here, after I do the physical scan, I like to recite through to myself the 8 limbs of yoga, because it helps me remember, what am I here to do? What is the yoga? So the first branch, the yamas: non-harming, non-stealing, non-lying, moderation, and non-hoarding. Just setting with that and maybe reflecting on what that means for me lately. And then the niyamas: purity, contentment, discipline, self-study, and surrender to something greater than myself. And then the third limb, being in my body mindfully, learning its possibilities, capabilities, and honoring my physical structure. Being in my breath, honoring its possibility, capability, living in it as a body. Oh, and now my senses, the fifth branch, my sight, my hearing, my taste, my touch, my smell. Honoring it and fully occupying it, and yet not fully identifying with it. I know I've been giving in to taste buds. I've been baking, and so I feel like I gotta taste, taste it before I want to like maybe gift it. But so I've really been giving in to those taste buds as a sensory experience. And then focus, the sixth limb, dharana, meditation. And then unification or samadhi. All right, so here I am. I know all 8 limbs. I'm saying I'm coming onto my mat to be present with all of it, not just my physical body. So I'm going to relax my belly and start some abdominal breaths. And you can keep your breath practices that simple because you're just generating that mental awareness. And hopefully over time, over days and days and days of practicing, one day you notice, hey, I think I can take in a little bit more here. Or I'm aware of feeling my breath over here in my back. Or my breath today is helping clear my mind. Or my breath is helping me be aware of how busy my mind is. I'm going to point and flex my toes and ankles, just waking up the bottom of my body. So oftentimes in my practice, when I'm working at home on my own, I'll just start from the bottom and then work my way up to the top of the body as a way of just kind of making sure I've hit the whole inventory. And then I work the ankles, just saying hello, fluid, smooth circulation, changing direction. You can start to play with how much you vary that. I like to work the heels forward and back a little, feeling the hips now, feeling the fabric sliding. Remember, our sense of touch is a huge part of it. Many of you know that I'm a huge fan of go ahead and give yourselves some self-stimulation and touch. Good. I'm going to do a slight inward rotation of my inner thighs. Our thighs and our hips tend to, in its relaxed state, fall open. So I'm bringing some waking up of these muscles in the upper thighs to hold me upright, chest upright, breath in, spreading the toes, still waking up and occupying my whole body, knowing what different parts are doing all at once. And exhale, hinging it forward. First time here. So those knees could be soft. Maybe roll up a blanket under these knees if you like. And I do want to say that I often say, if you like, if you wish. And you might be wondering, like, well, how do I know if I like it? Sometimes we arrive on our yoga mat and we really want people to tell us what to do because we don't know if we like it. So I'm a huge advocate of give it a try then. Roll something up, put it under here, and then just notice, hey, what are some things you like about it? What are some things you don't like about it? And then I'm going to roll the spine up. Perhaps you're thinking, I'm going to bend this knee. This is my left knee. And I'm wrapping my arm around it. My left hand is behind me. Just a gentle twist from the lowest part of the spine. But then you might be saying, well, if I put the pillow under there, I don't feel like I'm getting much out of it. It's not intense. I don't feel the burn. So start to ask yourself, are you here for a burn? I'm not saying that certain movements don't help us confront where there are obstacles and limitations in our range of movement. But if we are burning, yanking, tugging, forcing, is that first limb of yoga? First part of that limb, ahimsa, non-harming. How are you going about it? Breathe in, breathe out. And there's something to be said for some ease that we bring into our body. I'm going to open up this hip now. Remember I said that the hip likes to fall open. So I'm going to bend this knee out. That foot could be in the inner thigh, but that might be too much bend on your knee. So you could bring it further down. Sometimes I just vary it because the angle on the hip changes and I can feel the impact on different muscles and different sections of the joint. All right. So nothing is static. Nothing is the same thing every day. Arriving on our mat to have a genuine conversation of how's it going today? All right. I'm going to now twist in the opposite direction with this hip open. Breath in, lifting the chest with ease. Don't yank it down. And revolve. Now, twists are often a great opportunity for us to look at where is there resistance as well as ease at the same time, because both are components of the twist. And can you find a nice, easy spot in the middle? Equilibrium, ease and steadiness. Stira Sukha. Breathe in. Exhale. Maybe see if there's a little bit more room or not. And now I'm going to release and come forward for what's called Janu Sirsasana. So remember, I said you could have something underneath of that knee, or you could put a pillow right here and chill out. Just because you might feel some tension in the back of the hamstrings, the remedy or that limitation of movement, sometimes the cure for that isn't to rip it and tug at it to stretch it. We might need it to slowly take its time. That could be days, that could be weeks, that could be years. And are you okay with that when you heard the word years? And roll the spine up. Maybe that takes us to the second limb of yoga. I'm going to straighten this leg. Breathe in and come forward. Inside of that second limb, contentment. Breathe in. Breathe out. Spend time with the breath body here. Spending time with our sensory body. And rolling the spine up. Now, often in the beginning of a practice, I don't like to hold things super long to begin with. I like to kind of move it and just kind of lubricate the joints a little. Then later in practice, after we warm things up, maybe do some longer holds, okay? I'm going to wrap this arm around, right hand behind you. Now, some of you may be wanting to bring that elbow outside. Now, just because you're going for that, it doesn't mean that it's more advanced or anything like that. You're going to increase your torque, or the amount of pressure that you can put into that twist. So think about that and when you're first starting. I'm not saying do it or don't do it. Also, you might find that you need to navigate some tummy flesh or thigh flesh, so you might need to change that angle. All right. So feel out. Remember your intention. Breath in, sitting up tall, be with your body. Exhale, revolve from the lowest part of the spine. Feel your bones, your flesh, your organs. Spend time with the physical body. Let it talk to you about what it needs, what you've been overdoing repetitively. Where's that being born in your physical body, and how do you want to relieve that and alleviate that, heal it, and help it? I'm going to release a little, and then bring that foot down. Again, choose where that angle is. Sitting up tall, and I'm going to twist in the opposite direction. Now, I just started my neck here. I know I've said I like to work. We've worked from the feet. We've worked there to the knees. A little bit of the hips and the back when you stretched forward. And now adding in some neck if you like. And then come forward. And that just happened organically. It wasn't that I made a plan. Once I started to twist, my neck said, hey, feels good. Why don't we hold here and just feel the breath body and how the breath is helping you have a relationship with your bones, your muscles, your organs, about your senses. How about your focus? Rolling the spine up. The breath is a great tool to help us with focus. Just stay with the breath. I'm going to lengthen that leg again. Now, those legs could be a little wide, or you could bring them in closer or all the way together. When you notice that I'm using this action to pull flesh away, it's not that I'm necessarily trying to spread anything. I do want to feel the bony points underneath of my hips, the sit bones. So you ought to feel two bony points just ahead of the anus. I'm flexing the toes in order to keep the legs active and stabilizing the bones, all right, so that it isn't loosey-goosey. I'm going to breathe in and reach upward. I don't have to do this. I can keep my hands here, but put that energy into the spine. Breathe in. Exhale, come forward. So maybe you kept your arms up. Maybe you chose to give this a try. Spreading the toes. Look at your mind. Feel your breath. Stay right here. Use your breath as a focal point. Just follow it and observe its nature, how smooth or how uneven, how your breath is making you feel, where you notice it in your body. We'll roll the spine up. Good. I'm going to walk these feet in, hands behind me. Try to have the feet separated a bit, feet even and parallel, not angling the toes out. And then see how the wrists feel. And then lift the hips. Maybe just keep the gaze toward the knees. Don't drop the neck back. Can you push the chest up a little? And lower the butt down. Lifting the chest. A little bit of heat now, all right? So we went really static, working on that lower body, some stretching, a little bit of the back body. Came up here. We can start to work the neck and the shoulders. And we've got a little bit of core going on. Starting to build a little heat, a little vitality. Breath in. Breath out, hands behind us, and lift. Now just start to find your natural breath. Rather than someone telling you when to breathe, just so long as it's finding a continual flow going in and out. Gently lower yourselves down without holding the breath. Maybe lifting the arms, shoulders staying at ease. Don't choke yourself with the shoulder. And bring that down, hands down. Can you feel all of your digits in your hands? Being present with so many parts of our physical body and giving some care and attention to how they are performing and being a part of us in our action. And lifting. Feel the skin on your thighs, your organs, your breath. And so wanting to be aware of those means that we might need to take a little time holding them for a little bit and then bringing ourselves down. And I'm going to engage in a little bit more core, working the neck a little. Now I'm going to straighten my right leg, breathe in. I'm a little warmed up, and on this side, I think I do want to see if I can use this leverage to revolve the vertebrae in my spine a little bit more. My low back is kind of grateful for that. It might not be the same for you. Use your belly and let your belly move and kind of activate and stimulate your digestion, all of the functions of your organs. How aware are we in giving that some loving kindness and attention? I want to bring that right knee in, straighten that left leg, make a choice. And just because you did it one way on one side doesn't mean that you have to on the other. I am going to here, but I'm really not going to twist nearly as hard because my low back going in this direction is asking me not to. Looking for ease and equilibrium in our practice. Can we create space between joints? Feel different spaces between different bones and release. And then how are the muscles helping hold those bones together even when we're trying to create space? Breath. And now I'm going to curl my low back. And I'm going to lead with the chin and the chest. Yeah, we're getting a little hot here, starting to build up. Just a little feeling containment. That's what I like to call that core engagement. Feeling containment. And now bottoms of the feet together. First time, double hip opening into what's called Baddha Konasana, or bound angle. And now I'm just going to flow. Remember I said, we don't really want to start off with deep, long holds in the early part of the practice. We're just warming into long spaces in the body. Maybe envision the biggest joints that are moving here in your hips. And like I said, we're trying to see, or at least bring our mind into the spaces between joints. So can you lift flesh and lift bones away from bones and still do so, even if it's minute, without strain? We'll come up to center, and I'm just going to start to twist and twist. So we've worked some spine forward and back, worked some spine rotating in those spirals. We've worked hamstrings, a little bit of core, a little bit of neck, ankles, toes. Good. I'm going to lengthen those legs one more time. Breathing in, choose whether you want those arms up. Now, if you are using the arms, try to let that encourage you to aspire to grow taller. And we're lifting space off of each vertebrae. Can you feel the spaces in between your ribs, all the way around the front of you and the back of you and the rib cage? How about the spaces in between the bones in your hands? Breath in, exhale. I'm going to split the arms open. And here I'm turning to the left because I'm facing you and pulling away. Now I get to feel all of this containment, because if this wasn't engaged, bloop, right, I would be falling over. So thanking all of that strength, and I can be strong and make room for breath. And I can stay in my focus. And I can bring in a quiet mind that's just right here, not trying to do 20 things at the same time. And breathing in and with. Feel your senses. That can be a focal point. So let's say you're like, okay, I'm tired of just focusing on my breath. I'm bored. Well, pick hearing. Just notice close-up sounds, far-away sounds. Bringing ourselves back up. I'm going to split. Pick another sense. Touch. What temperatures can you feel? Touch, and the sense of touch is really intricate. You could spend a lot of time focusing there. Where can you feel fabric on your body? So many different regions. Where on the body? What is the kind of touch that you're getting from that fabric? Breathing in and twist. Can you pull the bones away from each other in the shoulder blades? And then what is the sense of touch that you're feeling on the outside and the inside? Because touch, we can feel sensory perception within the flesh, in our mouth, inside of the fibers of our muscles. Really intricate, so you can stay in a big focus space there. Breath in, exhale, coming forward. Now's a really nice time to just start to check in with how the body is feeling after so much movement. Maybe it's a new check-in. Kind of say, okay, what do you need now? We're kind of awake, kind of aware of all of the stressors we've been carrying and all of the potential that the body is saying, yeah, let's go be a body. Let's go be legs. Let's go be hips. Let's go be twisty ribs, and just let the body find its fullest expression. Okay, so it's a good way to check in. Alrighty, I'm going to come and face you all now. And I'm going to find a cross-legged space. So that could be crisscross applesauce. Some of you are working toward what's called sukhasana, shin bone in front of shin bone. It's a little wider. Sometimes you might want to be sitting on a cushion. That could alleviate any pressure if you've got hip issues, knee issues, okay? Maybe even pillows under the knees. So don't feel as though, oh, I can't do the crisscross, so I suck at yoga. No, you get to find the way that you are most comfortable. And maybe that doesn't work for you. Maybe legs out in front of you is best. Okay, I know that many of us have different things going on in our hips and our knees, maybe some injuries or some deterioration. So the whatever's the limitation that the body presents to you gives you an opportunity to go back to that first limb and practice non-harming, to go back to that second limb and practice contentment. Gives us an opportunity to go back to the first limb and practice some honesty about where we are, and then go into the second limb and practice some self-study. Look at how we behave when we're confronted with our own limitations. I'm going to pat myself on the back with my right hand and feeling the back of this arm. And maybe go ahead and just take this hand and give it a touch, right? When's the last time you just sat and touched yourself in this way and became aware of what's going on in the back of that arm? Maybe massage in that joint. All of this, that wonderful intentional massage helps heighten our awareness inside of our physical body. I'm going to take this left hand and find that elbow and just sit upright. Breath in. Exhale. I'm going to come over to the left. Now we're all going to bend to different degrees. Maybe you think you're bending and you're like, hey, actually, when you look at the mirror, you're not seeing much move. Maybe you've moved so much that you're like, oh my God, when are we coming out of this? I can't breathe. You're making a choice right here. So start to call yourself out, not in a shaming way, but kind of acknowledging that truthfulness, satya. I'm going to switch hands. Now, I don't know what arms I had said that I had, you all. So this is my left arm. And I'm going to massage the back of that left arm. Woo! Ah. I'm going to hit the head while I'm there. Massaging my scalp. Ooh, there we go. And then I've got, that elbow. Good. Now the rib cage is so exposed, right? And so unguarded here that I can really be aware of them, feeling how spacious and open they are. So I'm just working my ribs a little. Side to side, feeling that coiling, a little bit of slinky action. Feeling it breathe, and just even noticing how I feel being that exposed. It's a great word to help us be aware of what's going on there. You could even twist here. And then I'm going to find a little bit of this side bend. Ooh. Now I'm starting to bring in a little bit of sound because I just wanted to come out. Remember, our fourth limb is pranayama, our breath awareness. And our fifth limb is pratyahara, our sensory withdrawal is really it, and release. But I don't want to withdraw from it until I'm fully aware of it as a landscape and vibration and sound, right? We get to feel it and utter it as well as hear it. So we get a nice dual sensory experience. We work the shoulders. So as you notice, we really come up from the feet. Now we're amplifying some work here and some movement. This is actually making me feel something around in my mid-chest, almost where the thoracic and the lumbar are meeting on my left side in between two ribs is feeling like a pinchy feeling, a little cramping. And so I actually just slowed down and I exaggerated the movement a little less. And I'm breathing in. Okay, so that discomfort is gone. And I'm going to now just do a little cat and cow, working that rib cage, just seeing how it feels. And I think maybe because of this movement, I think maybe I had moved a little too swiftly. But I was listening. I'm not saying anything was super bad or that what I just did fixed me. No, I have a relationship with my body, and my body said, hey, I got a little pinchy thing here. And I said, okay, let's check it out. And now it's like, okay, and now it feels better. That's a great way to start getting to know and listen. I told you exactly where in my rib cage, where my thoracic, my upper chest is meeting the lumbar, the lower spine, about 2 or 3 ribs in there. In between the ribs, it was a little pinchy. Okay, so it's a little body awareness. Alrighty. We're gonna come to hands and knees. So now we're moving up and changing how our relationship to gravity is. We've been sitting on our butt. Now we're gonna bring our face aiming downward, and gravity is gonna impact our flesh and our bones in a different way. Okay, so the core actually has to sustain holding the spine a little bit more weight bearing on the arms and the wrists. First, I'm going to just notice, okay, did I give any care to how my hands are positioned so that my hands are ready to accept the role of weight bearing? So spread the palms, make it as wide of a base as possible. Trying to distribute that weight and pressure. Okay, oftentimes we start off by just digging into the heels where there's the most bone density, but I want to spread it evenly across all of the bones. Don't just say, hey, big bones do all the work. No, even the pinky finger gets to have some job spreading the fingers so I can feel the stretch in between each finger. But that stretch isn't a burn, okay? I don't want it to sting. I don't want to hurt. All right, I'm going to reach my left leg back. Now, this is the first time that that leg is extended and not supported. It is just being held by the strength of the muscles wrapped around that thigh and around my waist. And all we're doing, practicing the first two limbs, the truthfulness, don't steal. Where does stealing come into play, or robbing in our yoga practice? For me, on my home practice, one of the first places I go is, what am I robbing myself an opportunity of? To learn, to grow, to explore, to let go, so you can apply it across that kind of a spectrum. Breath in, and am I still lengthening that leg, looking at my intention, or is it just kind of hanging out here? So I get to hold myself accountable, self-study in the second limb. I'm going to bring that left knee down. Woo! Work the sides, because the sides we're working. And then reach that right leg back. Breath in, breath out. Now, parts of my fingers actually just started to talk, and I'm going to, if you notice here, I'm shifting weight forward and back. That's helping me gauge how much weight bearing I'm putting in those arms. And maybe shift left and right so that I can also build awareness of what's going on there. Try not to encourage any strain in the neck or shoulders. And then when you soften areas, you start to learn, hey, that area can actually hold itself without that huge degree of strain and squeezing. And we get to learn how much we over-apply in some things and we under-apply in other things. Good, I'm going to bring that knee down. Now, those wrists of mine are definitely working. So I'm going to come on up, giving a little trace with these hands. Hands to the low back. Now, this is the first time that we're actually going in the other direction for the spine. We have gone forward. So balance in our movements as well. So if you're starting to chart your way through moving on your own and your mat, you twist in one direction. Eventually, before you leave your mat, can you twist in the other? If I fold it forward, can I ask the body to start to fold in the other direction? And bring ourselves back down. This time I'm going to make a fist and rest on my knuckles, and that's going to take some of that deep compression out of those joints. And that's legit, right? Some of us are dealing with some rheumatoid or osteoarthritis, or maybe some carpal issues, some compression or inflammation in those wrists. And so let's honor that, and we'll take some of that pressure out of there. I'm going to shift forward and back and just start to notice the flesh in the forearms, okay? Those muscles actually do fine movements. They're responsible for so much of your finger action when you are typing, all of that fine motor skill. So it's a lot of super fired, rapid movement of muscles all the time. Maybe we don't think about that in the forearms. I'm going to reach that left leg back again, and then see if I can twist that hip open. Now that can feel like a really complicated space for some of us. Remember when I said that our hips naturally like to fly open, but they probably don't like to fly open upward. So you got to use some belly muscles to twist the hip open. And then we'll bring that left knee down, and I'm going to reach the right leg back. And if you're still like going, I don't think I'm getting it, I don't know what's going on, pardon this reference, but I like to say, can we think about like fire hydrant, like a dog peeing on a fire hydrant? Gotta lift the leg. So not just lifting the leg, but you gotta cock it open. And it might help you bend the knee to start to feel that. Okay? It's a lot of fine motor skill all in the belly and the hip and the abdomen and the pelvis. You're gonna bring that knee down and roll it up. All right, so now we're flowing, and you can just start to piece together 3 movements, just as we've done, into your own flow. And then just see how smoothly can I go? How much am I applying myself to my awareness of where my weight is distributed? I'm going to lengthen the left leg, twist, close. And I'm a big fan of then adding one more in. So now I'm going to do some hip rotations, lubricating, working breath, change direction. You don't have to keep adding on. I'm just giving suggestions for how you can find yourself on your mat on your own. I'm going to reach that other leg back, do our fire hydrant, and close. And then bring this knee up and around for hip rotations, hip circles with that knee and that thigh. The hip joint, such a vital joint to our existence, change direction. It's the biggest joint in the body, and it's hugely important toward our circulation and our elimination. All right. So if we're not pumping and moving and finding the fullest range and strength in this hip, let's gradually come on up to standing on those knees. We can start to limit our circulatory ability, which you don't want to do. Send the hips forward. And our ability to eliminate, right? We want our colon to eliminate. All right. I'm going to step my right leg up, hands free. Love sometimes to just do hands-free action because it makes my torso do the work. And I'm going to step the left foot up. And just repeat this a few times and just feel. Can you feel, when do the muscles in the groin have to do stuff? What's going on in the muscles in the spine? Did you knock yourself over because you were trying to do it perfectly? What is the nature of our breath? Can you place the foot down? And now I'm going to reach and twist. All right, so this is the most upright that we have been. And now we're involving a twist in this upright space. And release. We're going to bring this leg back. Remember what I said? We can just start to add things on and you're making your own flow. Sitting upright, start to notice here, you can see me. So you can see my head over my shoulders, over my hips. You might want to have a mirror so that you can check in. Because a lot of times we're pitched forward like this. And we think that we are aligned. Okay? And in that alignment, you might be like, man, that's tight. What I like to think about that is not that this is bad, but that we have been like this too long. So if you're not aware of how you're carrying your body throughout the day, and this feels upright, this is getting to retract. So that when you actually are in alignment, this is telling you something's wrong, but instead, this just has never been in its full lengthened position, supporting the groin, all right? So it's not a flaw. It's just where we have been out of balance showing itself to you. I'm going to twist. Breath in. Breath out. Good. And now let's bring that left knee in on its own. I'm going to bring the hands down. Now I do want to take a moment and say that now might be a really good time, especially if practice is new for you, to just sit back You could catch up on this video later today or do some tomorrow. Because starting out at a home yoga practice doesn't have to be an hour. It should maybe just be 20 or 30 minutes. Know that your endurance is different right now. Your endurance is not mine. This is child's pose, by the way. Letting the body weight compress onto itself. And that's a great way of sloughing. And then we'll come on forward. All right, so I'm going to just leave that there. You could take a rest, turn over on your back, do a shavasana, a nice calm kind of restful posture before emerging for the rest of your day. Maybe come back to this video and join us later tonight and just split it up in half, okay? It can sneak up on you. You might be like, oh, this isn't very much. And then later in the day or tomorrow, you go, oh, what am I feeling there? I didn't think I did that much, okay? Remember, this is not a workout. And if you are looking for it to be a workout, maybe this practice isn't for you. Maybe come on Saturday for Empower Yoga. Or try some of the many other wonderful yogis who are out on the internet, on Facebook, or even locally here in Lansing, okay? All right, I'm going to tuck my toes and feel my toes again and my hands. Digits, digits, digits. Fingers are spread. I'm aware of my palms getting ready to be my new feet. And then my feet to keep being my feet. Tucking the toes. And just lift the knees a little and just feel that. Don't just use the arms. Ask your belly, your spine, your chest. There are muscles there. And then I'm going to just start to straighten the legs and lower the legs. Feel your breath. I like to just see this as, okay, how are my arms and my torso ready to give me support? Okay, because this isn't about standing in the legs. This is asking the whole body to stand you upright. Okay, so I'm going to tuck the toes, feel the toes, unbend the legs a little, and bring it down. And maybe do that a few times. Maybe squeezing the tummy or the pelvis a little extra. So you could say, oh, what does that do when I do this? Maybe trying to squeeze the upper arms a little extra and just notice what you notice. And then say, can everything work together? Do they know how to? Or do you, as you start to push the butt up, do you start to notice the legs are trying to do it all and they're screaming and they're mad? Or that the arms or just the wrists are trying to do it all and they're mad? And you're like, okay, but I don't know how to not just be in the wrist. That's okay. Over time, we can start to do this. Maybe push each fingertip down for a little bit, and your poor little fingers are like, hey, wait a minute, I didn't ask to do all that work. And we'll bring the knees down. And I'm going to step my left foot up. I'm going to tuck the back toes, and I'm going to bring that back foot flat. Now look at the left toes and aim them in the direction of the front left corner of your mat. So it should be kind of a 45-degree angle. Many of us may need to step that foot up a little bit. I'm going to keep this right knee over my right ankle. And I'm going to sink the hips down, right? Hips up, hips down. Maybe bring your hands to your knee to give yourself some support. Come up and just feel this is the highest we've been in our whole practice. So feel that in your mind, in your head. How does it feel to rise? How does it feel to breathe in your frame here? Feel your toes, your legs, your hips. I love to just kind of work the hips a little back and forth and side to side because this is a real intricate joint. I like to see how it wants to move, and as long as I'm not overtaxing the joints of the knees to make that movement happen, then I'd rather kind of see, like, hey, hips, how do you want to swerve and move? Fully occupying our physical body house, and seeing its capacity, its possibility, its fullest range, its healthiest range. And now I'm going to lift the upper body off the bottom body. Not compress. Remember the spaciousness and maybe twist. We did this seated. And that's just an idea. You don't have to. I'm adding that in. I'm bringing those hands down. I'm going to bring the back knee down. Step my right knee back. Now to transition, before I do the other side, I'm going to do another down dog. So I got to be in my hand. Got to look at my mind. Am I in a hurry? Or does that, can I be in my self-study space? I'm going to tuck the toes and start to gradually straighten the legs and push the butt up. And you can choose how far do you want to go with this. Are you trying to straighten the back? Or are you just feeling, hey, my shoulder range of movement, as well as the backs of the legs? You can pedal those heels up and down. What does kindness feel like as an action inside of your own body? And how do you flex that action? And I'm going to bring those knees down once again. Okay, you can always start to extend the length of time that you're holding into different poses. I'm going to step the left foot up, tucking the back toes, stepping that foot up a bit, turning it flat, aiming those toes toward the front right corner of the mat, and then choosing how I'm going to come up. Now, I said you can give yourself support, all right? So if it feels like your back is overtaxed or that your balance is going off, if you're coming up without giving yourself that support, then go ahead and bring your hands there. Or maybe you're gluing those legs down and saying, no, I want to see, can I just reach those arms out and ask this free, exposed torso to do that work with ease. Oh, hello, hips. Free the toes. How are your ankles holding you here? How are your shins and calves talking to you here? You could bend the front knee and sink it. We could split it open. Remember, pulling both shoulder blades away from one another. That neck space, the finger space, no tension. And up. Freedom. What's the joints and the shoulders and the elbows saying? Hands down. Now I'm going to step the back leg up. So now you could do some variation of that sequence 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, however much intensity you're feeling, or however much you're growing as far as your sustainability and endurance. I'm going to roll my spine up. And now we're truly coming to our highest point in our practice. Feel your eyelids. Maybe close the eyes. Hear sounds that are close to you, far away, outside of the building, inside of your body. Feel how the body is swaying. Let it sway. Be aware of standing vertically in your physical body on this big blue marble. Can you feel yourselves being aware of standing on a big round surface? Feel your size in perspective with the earth. Breathe that in. That can be a great standing meditation. Just saying, I'm feeling myself standing on the globe, allowing this to happen, not exerting my force on it. Breathing with ease. Just one of the many creatures on this beautiful planet. And now let's reach. If you wish, I'm going to flip my palms up and have a gentle side bend. We really haven't gone side to side much in our practice today. So I do try to kind of think about the range of movement, the directions that the body can go in, and how often I am asking my body or letting it practice going in those movements and bring those arms down. I'm going to lift one knee. That could be up an inch. You could hold on to a wall. You could lift it up higher. Okay? Breath. Now notice my heel wants to curve in there. That's about that open hip thing. So I got to twist that thigh bone in so that I'm more neutral. And breathe. And I'm going to bring that down. Just come onto the earth. Look at my feet. Notice, oh, do I have a tendency to have one foot in front of the other? Just how are we wearing this earth suit today? That's all. And we're not aiming for perfection. We're just kind of saying, oh, yeah, that's how this is. That's how this is. And do they want to slowly kind of come into an alignment? I'm going to see what this side has to say with all good humor. Maybe an inch. I'm starting to feel, what are the muscles that do that? Sometimes I just work and just feel it. What are the muscles that are doing stuff? Do those muscles need to be doing stuff? Could I stop them from doing stuff, and what would happen? The world's going to stop. No. Can I let my arms go? Right? We often think, oh, I need this for counterbalance. Can I let that go? And ask my spine to grow tall? Oh. Breath. And bring that down. I'm going to shift and lift. I'm going to turn sideways. Lift. Send the heel out. Now, maybe it isn't out that high. Maybe it's down here. Just say, what is a straight, extended leg without leaning back? What goes on here? Oh, having this torso and low abs support the weight of that unsupported biggest limb, other leg. Right? Can the rest of our body support our legs as much as the legs have supported us? Ooh, and we're going to do that again. And we get to see how much the engine fires up, right? Because we get hot. We feel like it's a lot of work. Or maybe all we do is say, oh, it's hard. Well, what is hard? Hard is work, right? We're saying, what does hard mean? Oh, we're exerting an effort. I'm going to shift and lift and reach. Now, if you're still saying, oh my God, this is super simplistic. All right, then hold it. Hold it, and after a while, start to observe your mind, start to observe the muscles that are fatiguing, start to observe, are you getting in a, oh, I can do it, you give me a challenge, and I'm going to, well, is that peaceful? Where are you in your mind, and what's your intention? What are you learning about yourself, and are you finding contentment and kindness, moderation, and bring that foot down? Are we practicing the limbs of yoga? Did we start to get overly competitive? Are we practicing the limbs of yoga? Or are we all up in our ego? And our yoga helps us look at our ego stuff. And then all you can do is laugh. Because what's the sense of getting mad about it? This is human nature. But the yoga is a wonderful mirror of getting into this practice and starting to look at ourselves and go, whoop, yep, I do that. Whoop. Yep, I don't know how to do that. And it's that humility portion that comes into the yoga. All right, we've done some standings. Maybe the body is feeling a little warmed up. I know that we feel some elements of the body and aspects of our physicality that we've awakened and maybe used in different ways than we usually do in our day-to-day activities. So yoga is great to help keep the body and have our mind be connected to, oh, I'm in a physical, warm-blooded mammalian body, and I get to see what it can do, and live in it fully. Now we're going to come to seated, and we're going to do a breath practice and a meditation practice before we close, because I do feel as though that's probably one of the most short shrift of what I share, and I don't want it to be that way. But I also recognize that it tends to be the area that is least popular as far as like what people want to come for. But that would not be being true to the practice. That would be me amputating limbs of this practice off and representing this partially amputated thing as an entire thing. And I don't want to do that. All right, so we have moved in our bodies. Sit in any way that you wish. Maybe sit up on a pillow, okay? I'm making myself have this other leg on top because I'm always lopsided. I always have the right on top. So I'm intentionally trying to set a new pattern and observing my kind of fight, my inner fight with that. Because everything inside me wants to change this. My left hip is like, well, I don't like it. And I'm like, I know you don't. Shh, love you. You need a little bit of balance. And then the righty needs a little break. So that's me finding that equilibrium. I'm going to introduce our Anulom Viloma, and that's an alternate nostril breath. I'm only going to show, whenever I do show various breath practices in this virtual environment, I want to do so with the safest ones and not the most vigorous ones, because I would rather be in your presence with those. And there's so much to be cautious about when we're getting into either vigorous breaths that can heat us up or make us dizzy, or breath retentions, which could also make us dizzy or pass out. So I don't want to get into that kind of stuff in the least supervised way. So we'll come into some of the more calming breaths, safer, and I feel a little more responsible. I can do that and leave you to your own devices a little more safely. So I'm going to take my right thumb and close my right nostril. I'm going to breathe up the left nostril. So before we begin any pranayama practice, not your asana practice, asana is the yoga postures, we want to look at what is the posture of my body before I begin the pranayama. So try to have the body in its intended spine lifting and energy spiraling upward and securely and at ease downward. All right. You could have your back against the wall. I'm not saying it has to be super rigid up like this, but we don't want to be like, oh, okay, I'm going to do this, right? We don't want to slouch. We want to bring some intention into our carriage that is kind, mindful, and still connected in our practice. So spine is lifting, making space in that rib cage, right? In this whole cavity for our organs to move with that breath. And now, right thumb closing the right nostril. And I'm going to breathe up the left nostril. I'm going to take the last two fingers in this right hand and close the left nostril and breathe down the right. And breathe up the right. Close the right, breathe down the left. Breathe up the left. Close and breathe down the right. Try to continue in this manner. Relaxing the diaphragm and the belly, letting it balloon with breath with ease. Don't force it. Let the breath take as long as it takes to sip it up and let it go down. Try to observe your physical body, being aware of when tension is trying to accumulate somewhere. Even in your jaw and your tongue and your foreheads and your eyebrows. And then just feel the nature of the breath. And is it encouraging you into a soothed space? What is it doing for you? And can you go with that? What are the sensations you're noticing up and down your nasal passageways? And as you're drawing the breath in those nasal passageways, where is it going in your abdomen? Is your abdomen making space for that volume of breath? What is possible for us to feel in an equalizing manner? In a manner that brings ease as well as full potential. And relax the arm. And notice the sensations as you continue an abdominal breath. Being a vessel for breath. Observing all of your sensations. So that's called alternate nostril breathing, or analom viloma, or sometimes also nadi shodhana, often considered a cooling breath, or a breath that has a calmative effect on our central nervous system. It's great to do before you're going to bed. Great to do before or after a difficult conversation or a moment of conflict. It's not like bringing a paper bag over your nose if you're ready to hyperventilate. I wouldn't say hold that thought and then try to do this and become someone. But I am saying, like, after you've left something that you know has got you really amped up, it's a great way to bring yourself down. It's also a great tool to do and then sit in meditation afterward, which I will encourage us to have a moment of sitting. Now, you could have that lying down in Shavasana. Oftentimes, when we put the body into Shavasana, in lying down, we can tune out and go to sleep. I'm never going to shame anyone on that. But as you are growing your yoga practice, the intention of Shavasana is to stay in awareness, in stillness and silence, in that body shape. As the nervous system is calming down and we start to become aware of awareness itself. But we will do it today, sitting upright. And I am going to go ahead and let my back find some rest. This is the first time I'll do so with my fun new lights here. Spine erect and accepting all of the support that the wall is giving us. And just notice, the muscles that are happy to go, okay, cool. And that also helps set the mind a little more at ease, because it's less distracted over the exertion of our muscles. It even helps us become less distracted at any self-consciousness about our bodies. I think that upright seated position can really help us learn more about our perceptions or aspirations toward perfection and doing things perfectly, doing things right. And instead, in our yoga, can we think about doing things with ease and conducting clear channels of energy or intention? So if you need here, maybe do a few more alternate breaths. I like to start my meditations or do the whole thing with the eyes open. Again, discouraging sleeping. But my eyelids are relaxed, inviting that ease. By having my eyes open, I can be aware of being in a body with the gift of sight. Be aware of my sensory perception of vision, not identifying the things I see. Just aware of the filtering of light and color. Aware of these eyeball organs doing what they do as I breathe in a physical body. Now, as you sit, maybe just reflect and focus on your breath and just follow it. Don't try to perfect it. Let it do what it's doing. And you just sit and look at it like you're looking out a window at a butterfly. If you want to have the eyes closed, go right ahead. Notice the sensation of breath or all of your senses. So that can be the focal point, just letting your mind rest on observing your senses. Some people feel the need to have something more going on because this degree of stillness may be a little mind numbing or agitating. So a mantra practice can be helpful. I really encourage newcomers to the practice to let that mantra be in your native language. So what I mean by that is not a Sanskrit mantra, so that we're not making this practice be something foreign or anything that we are appropriating. Let it be something that means something to you. So you could just say, I am in my body breathing. Sorry. In my body breathing. And that is all that you would really need to repeat. Please stay and continue in your meditation. I am in my body breathing. I am in my body, I am in my mind breathing. And that can be your simple recitation to yourself. Never be in a hurry to depart from your practice. Take your time. Unfortunately, I was jolted out by karma, so I do apologize for any sudden alarm because of my dog. And we get to go with it as well, letting go of this notion that we need a perfect setting. Things need to be in this kind of spa-like retreat kind of space. And instead, how do we carry all of the elements of all 8 limbs with us throughout our day? Focus, meditation, awareness of our senses and how much we get carried away by them, or how much we're not paying attention to them at all. Awareness and expansion in our breath, awareness and expansion in our bodies, and then how we treat ourselves, contentment, discipline, purity, self-study, and surrender, and how well we're treating others, non-harming, truthfully, not robbing or stealing, moderation, and non-hoarding. I'm Belinda with Just Be Yoga, and it has been my honor to share home yoga practice with you all here today. If you found any value at all to this practice, thank you so much for sharing your energy. I will stick around for a few comments if anyone has anything that they wish to share. Share the videos. Let me know if there's something that you want us to explore practicing, and we can add it in on the next home yoga practice. If it's in your heart or your pocket, please feel free. We gratefully accept any donation you have to give. PayPal.me/justbeyoga. We've been offering yoga community outreach on a donation basis for 10 years, and we hope to be able to continue to do so. Our work is extended into the school districts, various nonprofits, the health department, community mental health, the Michigan State University, all kinds of organizations, trauma-informed yoga. So your help not only helps keep the lights going, but helps us be able to offer low-cost programming for others who could stand to benefit from them. All right. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Great to have you here with practice today. And namaste. Peace, everyone. Go forth. Do great things. We will be here tomorrow.